Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Definitely appreciate the support. I don't know what I'm going to title this video, but let's just get right into it. So I'm playing against this guy and I pay attention to the first three cards, and what do you know? This is one of the things I don't like about Mut, because you guys know I'm a sim guy. Middle linebacker Rob Gronkowski, wide receiver Deion Sanders, cornerback Randy Moss, right? 95, 95, 95. Rest assured, when you see that, you know you're going to get like a gimmick. In all likelihood, probably a lot of gimmick stuff, okay? I don't know, because it kind of just shows like the mentality. Maybe I'll leave it at that, but when you're so hard into real football and stuff like that, it just, I just can't bring myself down to put like William Perry at quarterback. I just can't do it, right? Stuff like that is what I mean. Not to alienate those that do, okay? So here's my offense, guys. I'll show you my offensive setup right here. Okay, wide receiver post. So I go to gun spread, Y slot, okay? And I've made videos on all of these plays I'm going to show you in gun spread, Y slot. In the original plays, I would come out in this play and then keep the other audibles. But now I've changed to where this is one of my audibles from gun spread, Y slot, wide receiver post. Go watch my video on that if you want to know how to run that, or at least how I run it. Okay, so these are the plays. Wide receiver post, HB draw. That is, I don't know why it's saying that. That is levels divide. It's saying 4 verticals. I guess it's kind of like a glitch, but I put levels divide there. And then my final play is PA tight end wheel. Okay, so then I go from there and I go to spread. Spread is the other formation that I run now. Okay, and out of spread, I substitute to tight end slot, and I do that because I'm going to come out in a play from spread, okay, but then I have all the plays that I can use from the audible section from spread, and then if I want to check into something from spread Y slot, I can do that because we have the same personnel, right? So that's probably why I have wide receiver post as my quick hitting play now, because I want my cover 0 beating play to be available from that particular formation. And in spread, we have flanker dig in the audibles, RPO zone peak in the audibles, PA comebacks in the audibles, and then also we have, so here I do it again, curl flats, and then I think that's all of them, yeah. So curl flats, RPO zone peak, flanker dig, and then PA comebacks. And the play that I come out in, I'm going to do it eventually, but I'm just showing you my entire setup right now. And obviously it will expand over time. And then my third formation is single back doubles flex. Okay? And the plays I have in this one, I'll show it here. There's my guy right there, slot cross. So we're going to have slot cross here, blunt dive, running play, HB stretch, and then we're going to have a different PA play here. So that's the entirety of my scheme so far. There it is right there, PA HB curl. And what's funny is it's gonna it's gonna rear its ugly head later on. This is one of the plays I have not really labbed. Okay, and after this game, I'm just gonna go ahead and lab it so I can fine tune it. Okay. So you may ask, well, why do you have this play in your audibles if you haven't really labbed it? Well, it's because I need to balance out HB stretch. Okay, because HB stretch has the same running action, so I got to include something to balance that out, right? So I'm like, all right, I'm going to go with PA HB, that PA play, so I can kind of balance out my running play. All right, now last but not least, certainly not least, obviously I'm going to come out in a play from spread, and it's Z cross, Z shallow cross. So I will always come out in this play, and then I have 4 audibles from this formation, another 4 audibles from gun spread Y slot, and then another 4 audibles from doubles flex. So, I have 13 plays at my disposal when I come out in this play, because you guys know I run no huddle. So that's my scheme. That is the entirety of my scheme, and right away, I come out in Z shallow cross, and right away, I've seen this front before, to where you're playing like a 3-4 and then they squeeze the formation. So right away I feel as if, all right, he's probably going to do some type of heavy blitz action or whatever, but that doesn't really matter. What matters most is there's no cover down on the number 2s here. Okay, there's no cover downs, but then he's bringing the safeties down as well. Okay, and this is where we get into tags, or 2-man route tags, or 3-man route tags. So if you have a formation where you have 1, 2, 1, 2, and back, that's spread. Let's get another one where we have 1, 2, 3, and let's say 1 here. Let's put it back here, right? Well, you know, I think it's important for you to have maybe like a 3-man route concept that you can hot route to or check into, right? But you got to have that in formations like this as well. So I have 2-man route tags where, based upon what the defense does, we can kind of check into a route concept that we can hot route into or etc., right? And this is where I went over a slout before, and this one I'm going to go over double outs. All right, so we're going to get into that now. So I'm like, you know what? Whenever I get a lack of a cover down on the number 2 while I'm in spread, this is where I can look to check into some 2-man route concepts. I mean, there's a lot of them. You could run, I think they call it Ohio. There's something called Wolf, I think, but it's probably the same name for something. I mean, there's a lot of them. Double outs, obviously. Double hitches is another one. You know, a whole bunch of quick game concepts you can incorporate, right? So I'm like, you know what? Let me check into that concept there. Okay. And I went over previously in the video before and why I like the double out concept when you don't have a cover down and you're in a double high defense. Okay. Because essentially this guy can never be right, right? If he decides to play over the top, then we could just throw the first out, right? It's just going to be wide open no matter what. There's no way he could turn. I think he'll do it here. He will turn towards the formation. It's just impossible. And then while floating upfield, it's impossible to turn this way and then whip back around and cut off an out from this player, right? If he does that, we throw the first out. However, if he decides to overplay the first out, then we have the second out because there's no one to kind of get in the window of the second out. Now, obviously, in the game of Madden, there are times where your opponent can float out and get in the way of that throw. But early on in the game, I never expect my opponent to do that. And also, that's unrealistic, too, for them to do that. I just want to keep that out there. So I snap the ball, and the second I see him turn like that, trying to run upfield, almost like a bailing type deal, this guy's just open, right? I believe I threw it to him. I did. And look at that. We pick up 15 yards. I mean, guys, look at that. 15 yards on what looked like a minimal play, right? We picked up 15 on that, okay? So just because from the outside looking in, looking at 2 quick outs, doesn't seem like a good play to run, again, if you attack and exploit where they are not like properly aligned, you can get some really big plays. And even if we didn't, if we would have got tackled the second we got the ball, it would have been like 5-6 yards, right? So it's just a jab, and it's almost like the extension of a run, right? So no huddle, obviously. And what do you know? One of the benefits of no huddle is you're forced to be in the same play that you're playing. Unless you audible out, you're in the same formation. So again, I'm thinking double outs over here. So I don't remember if that's what I did. I did, and look how he backed them off. So I did something wrong here. I think here I should have still threw the out here, right? But I really do think Madden kind of deteriorates our like understanding of football theory, because I would like to think if I haven't gotten boned in Madden the wrong way so many times, I would have threw this every single time. But it was just something about the way he moved, because you guys have seen players like magically warp and make incredible interceptions in Madden, that made me say, let me just throw the second out, right? But theoretically, that ball is there. So I just kind of, afraid of monsters under the bed, so to speak, right? So I went ahead and threw that second out, and we pick up, again, extension of the run. We got 4 yards, okay? I don't remember what happened here. Okay, I want to say this too. I don't want to make this a complaining video, although the last play of the game was probably the most irritating thing I've had in months, okay? Stuff like this in real life, you will never see this in real life in football. If you do, it will be an extremely rare occasion, and the offense is going to exploit this to the core, right? If I were to show pretty much any quarterback this alignment by the defense, well, he backed out, right? If I would, like, you would say throw the go pattern outside shoulder. Like, it's just gonna be there almost every single time because of alignment alone, right? So, anyways, he checks out, and I think he did that because I made hot route symbols here, and I think he was like, you know what, let me spread out so I can get defenders over the receivers. So I checked into the Z cross, and my setup for Z cross. So I'm already talking too much, so why don't I stop doing that? Here's my setup for Z cross, my original play. I almost always turn him into a comeback pattern, okay? And what I'm doing is post snap, you know, it kind of depends on the feel of the game because this is really a progression replay where I read 1 to 2 to check down. But then there are like alerts in this play, okay? If I get cover 2 zone or cover 2 man, we have an alert right here for a really big play on this outside fade against 2 man and 2 zone, okay? But then I also kind of tag the backside guy that I turn into a comeback, okay? Because I love throwing the comeback in this game. It is the most thrown route in my offense, okay? So I think here I was making my decision. Decision, I guess. Let's see. Forgot what I did. Yeah, I checked into, okay, yeah. So I just went ahead and got him to a comeback. And what I like to do when I do this is I peek both of these players at the snap of the ball. And if we get something where he goes upfield and he goes upfield, then I'm throwing the comeback like almost every single time, right? However, if we get something to where he goes like really flat to the flat and he goes upfield, I throw the comeback. The only time I don't throw the comeback is where he kind of goes at an angle towards the sideline with him going up, or if he sits in the flat. All right, and when that happens, it comes like really quickly. When you see that, then I just go right to the progression, right? So it takes some time to get used to. Right here, I'm throwing that comeback, right? Because he's coming, and you have to bail, right? So the way to really get at bail is to come back, right? Look at that throw. Beautiful throw to the outside. We'll just move on. I wonder if I check to a run here. Okay, so this is me. Double high. Looks like outside corners. I'm getting a feel for what he's actually doing. So I checked into the HB stretch play, and you will see what I do with HB stretch. I motion that outside receiver. And usually, theoretically, I would like it to where when he's running with my man, then I just allow him to set and then make a decision on what I want to do. If I want to run right or run left. But I've noticed in the game when you make this motion, I can't playmaker to where the run will go to the other way. So what I've done now is no matter what, if I make this motion, I'm just going to hike the ball, even if the man defender is in the box. Because at least it's a corner, right? And corners are not great tacklers. So we get a nice 8 yards there. Pretty decent. So we just go ahead and move on. Right here, this is when I notice, okay, this is 2-man. I could tell by the pre-snap alignment, double high safety. So now I can check into my play that's really good against 2-man. I wonder if I did it here. Okay, so this is the play from spread, the PA comebacks. Okay, I think KB, you asked me, what do I like this play against? And this is one of the defenses that I like it against 2-man. Okay, and we're going to get into some frustrating things here. Okay, but the thing about this play, I think I turn him into a deep fade most of the time. I really don't have to, but I think it stretches the safety a little bit more efficiently. So with 2-man, you're really hoping that this guy gets inside of this defender because the deep middle of the field will be open with these guys spreading out, right? But you put more stress on these deep half safeties with these outside stem routes. If you were to turn this player into like an in, then this guy would play a little bit more tighter on that deep post because there's no threat to the outer portion of the field. But with an outside stem route, obviously he doesn't know that you're running the comeback. You could be running that deep fade, right? So it it kind of stretches the safety to have to be honest, a little bit more honest to the sideline, leaving us some grass to make this throw, right? And then we also have the same route stem on this side to keep this safety honest on this side. So I wonder if I change that guy to a comeback, a fade. I did. So I really wanted to make sure that you stay stressed, right? So I might make this just kind of like the core hot route of this particular play against two-man. Snap the ball, play action. Look how we get the user in. This is the frustrating part I'm talking about. Oh, Rob Gronkowski, right? It's so stupid, right? But anyways, we play action, so he bites on that. And he's able to turn around and run all the way upfield and get in the middle window of this deep throw, right? Where you have to make the perfect throw to score, right? That is just like, I know one of you guys said earlier a while ago, let me go back. One of you guys said, hey, I like it now. I think you were on my channel maybe 2 years ago, and you're like, hey, it's so much better now because you don't complain about the game anymore and stuff like that. So that's why I'm trying to stay away from that. But I just can't help but to, see things like that. And it just irritates you because you're playing like a really sim style, real football and stuff like that. And a player is able to bite all the way on. It's just not realistic, guys. Like, I have to kind of like point things like that out, right? That is just not realistic. And that's something that they need to change in the game. One sim player, I mean, look at that. Like, one sim player said they should make it, and this is, I thought it was genius. They should make it to where if you're like this, running with your back to the ball, you should never be able to intercept the ball. Okay, because you can't see the ball. So yeah, you can press triangle or get your hands up and etc. But it should never be where they like do a 180 flip around Michael Jordan, Odell Beckham Jr., fly up in the air and intercept the ball. It's just so unrealistic, right? So you may say, well, okay, well, that's not fair. How can I intercept the ball in this position? Well, you would have to be top down running to the ball because you could see the ball. And that would force you to actually play better position, right? Because in this play, if you didn't bite on the play fake, you would have been a little bit further up the middle of the field, and then that would make sense to where, hey, I could see the ball and I'll drive on the ball, right? It's all about positioning. But the game just bails out players who, theoretically, I got them on this play, right? The perfect call, the play fake, pulling them in. I did everything right. And a lot of times, I'm telling you, there's so many times guys can make an interception on that. I just had to throw it at the perfect time, put the perfect arc on the ball for that to barely be able to be intercepted, right? It's just, it's just really frustrating. It is what it is. So we'll move on. And I don't remember when I stopped the video here. So I think he was just kind of like dinking and dunking up the field. Run. I made a mistake there, but I'm not going to stop it because I don't want the video to be too long. Forgot what happened. Oh, I know where I'm getting here. I know what I'm getting. 4 strong. Okay. So I just recently made a video on 4 strong. Okay. Definitely go check it out. And I went over the push call, and man, it really does work. So this is a scheme that I've came up with so far. I got cover 2 called here. Cloud flat. Right? But what I'm going to do is I'm going to man up the second defender in on the back. And what that does is, if the back goes to the flat, then he will make a push call to this guy to run with him. And if he continues going to the flat, he will make a push call to this player, so then he will take a man-to-man. And what that does is it keeps this guy in a mid-read, and then you will be a vertical hook, and then we have the cloud. And they're kind of like leaning towards the strong side with that push call. And what I do on the backside is I just man up this defender, and now I'm the backside safety. And my idea with this play is to drive on any shallow route from the bunch side, right? And I did everything right, but of course, me being the user, right? So look, we get all the push calls, and now he's flaring out for the back. I see the guy coming. I'm like, I'm going to drive on this. He's going to throw it. right? Now, of course, I should put this guy inside leverage. I don't think I did, but at least he has help to the middle of the field with the mid-read. Look how this cloud flat is outside shoulder on the potential corner. I don't like how the safeties play like that in the red zone, but I just terrible user. Like, I'm just bad, right? So I was pissed there. I'm like, wow, I can't believe that. The perfect, like, you know, you'll really, oh, one of you guys sent me a video. One of you guys sent me a video to my user online after I made that 4 strong video, and he showed me he ran across 4 strong, and he made the same adjustment for 4 strong with the push call, and he got an interception. So I thought that was really exciting to see. So, you know, I was excited to see the ball thrown. I was like, I'm gonna get an interception, and I didn't get it. So anyways, I checked in the double outs again here. All right. And the reason why I did this, I motioned him in for the stack. I did this for the sole purpose, not because I'm throwing anything over here, but because I've ran this concept twice already. And what players will do after the first couple of times, they will user this player and run post-snap at the snap of the ball to get in the window of this first out. And that is where they can kind of like unrealistically get interceptions. So to kind of throw some flair in there, I made this motion to give them the illusion that, hey, we might be doing something over here, right? And I think that cleared enough time to throw this. Okay, again, I'm looking at this player here, and I should have thrown the first out. I did, right? But we noticed that, sorry for the dog, that second defender in, that the user was really running over there because now he's keying on that concept. So keep that in mind as we go through the video. I wonder if I checked into a run here. I did. So I checked in the gun spread Y slot, the HP draw play. And we get a first down. We'll go ahead and move on. Okay, so this is Z-Cross with that comeback action. I don't remember what happened here. Okay, I checked into the run. So nothing exciting there. We'll just go ahead and move on. Z-Cross. All right. So I changed the protection. I'm not going to get into that. Okay, right here, I'm looking, remember, like, this is really my first read, and if I don't like it, then I go 1 to 2 to 3, right? But when I see this guy bailing and this guy hard inside, I'm throwing this comeback like every time. And I think I should have thrown it right then because I'm on the far hash. So this is a really, really long throw. Okay, so I threw it a little bit late there, and that underneath defender was able to kind of get in the window of that, right? So that, I think that's really on me, waiting a little bit too late to throw that. You got to be in mind when you do that, when you're on the far hash, that's going to be like a really long throw to make. Here I check in the flanker dig. So the reads on this is 1 to 2 to deep dig 3. And then we have some double high beating concepts on this side of the field with the switch release. So we liked 1, and we pick up some good gains. So here's 4th and 1. So I'm like, all right, looks like I'm going to run. And then when I see that right there, I know, okay, is this some type of 2-man? So this is where I'm like, you know what, let me check into my 2-man beating play from gun spread Y slot with the play action. And then he checked out into something else. I think he checked into 2 zone. Good thing about this play is it's good against both, right? So we snap the ball, get the play action. And this is 2 zone. Regular 2 zone, I'm really throwing into this window, right? But I liked the throw here on that little fade. I mean, a wheel. Pick up a nice game, and then now we're going to see me throw an interception. So I'm showing you this because, you know, when you get in situations like this in the game, so this is where I'm like, I mean, this is horrible, right? I'm like, why don't I do the double out, okay? And theoretically, it really shouldn't even be a decision. You should just almost always throw this, I think, right? But this is where I make a mistake with this. Okay, so I make the call there, And what I do is I think I audibled out into the run. And look at, remember what I said earlier with the double out. When you make these two hand signals here, after you do it, I ran it like 3 times in this game. Look at what he's doing with that box defender. He's running out here because he's afraid of this going on again, right? So this is where I just checked into the run because now he's out of the box. A little bit more favorable for the run. We just weren't able to make a play. So we go back at it. And the good thing about that is now every time I make these 2 signals on this side of the field, it doesn't alert him to, okay, he's running the play. He might actually be running the ball. He might be doing something else when you make those. You always have to balance out your actions, right? If you always throw double outs when you make the 2 hand signals over here, it's just easier to defend, right? So that's what I mean by balancing things out. And this is where I make a mistake. You're going to see me panic because he sits flat here, and I'm like, all right, throw the second out, right? So let's see here. Snap the ball, and when he flares out like that, I'm like, I can't throw this out. It just doesn't feel right because I feel like the ball will be too flat, and he'll just be able to drive and get the ball. So then I'm like, well, throw the second out, and this is where, even at the top of his route, the way he kind of like rounded it, I didn't like. And I tried to throw like back shoulder, but it just didn't work out, and we threw the interception, and he scored off of that. But the whole point, the reason why I'm going over this is something I got to lab. What type of route combination do you think would be better, right? That's what I'm thinking about. Well, what if we turn this guy into the fade, right? Fade out. Now, no matter what, I think you would just throw this fade like every single time because he's just so out of position for that. You just snap the ball high, arcing ball to the pylon, right? So I think down here, instead of double outs, it should be fade out. That's my opinion. And that's something I got to lab up because you guys know in Madden, just because theoretically he should never be able, like ever, he should just never be able to play that fade like that with this position right here. It's just, you got to make sure it's right in Madden, right? So that's something I got to lab up. Because, you want to be able to throw the ball in the red zone, even when you're down on the 2. Because guys will kind of pin in their entire defense inside to kind of defend the run, and where it's kind of weak or where you can attack is really to the pylon, the deep fades and stuff like that. It's one thing that I don't like about Madden is like the fade patterns, the back shoulder fades are just, I don't think that they're really coded correctly in the game. It is what it is. So here I think he was in 2-man. I checked into my 2-man beating play. You guys know with this play, we have the outer wheels. I was looking over here first. I should have been looking over here first if I want to be technical because I'm on the short side of the field here. And the window will close sooner on this side of the field. So why not key this side first? And if he doesn't beat his man, then get your eyes to the wide side, knowing that you have a little bit more time to rip it in there. So I was a little late on that ball due to me looking this way first and then here, right? So yeah, I'm way too technical. But that's the difference between an interception and a big play, right? So we'll move on. This looks like 2-zone, maybe? Oh, I think this is where I threw another interception, guys. And my idea was, I think, pretty sound. So what I did was I audibled to my PA. Remember earlier I said you got to have a play that balances out. Remember we have that stretch run play going this way? Well, that's why I like this play action play, even though I really don't like the route concepts in it, but I force myself to run it because it balances out with the HB stretch. And remember earlier on in the game, we audibled to the same formation and we ran this stretch play. So I'm like, look, let me do it with the play action play, and I know he's going to expect that run with the same motion action. And this messed me up because I wanted him to motion all the way across and snap there. So I was forced to snap it early, right? And everyone flies in. So he was expecting run. He must have did that run commit adjustment. Play action. And look at how wide open these players are. And again, so this is why I said earlier, this is one of the plays that I have not labbed as much at all. And this is why this plays a pivotal role in me throwing an interception here, right? Because I just was not prepared with this play. This guy's wide open. He ran, I don't even know what you call that route, but he burst inside and then he takes it to the corner. And I think they were in 2-man, and the safety, because he's playing the run, is just completely out of position. So a ball over the top and to the inside is there. Another thing about Madden is I think in real life, I really don't think he would continue on this route. Why not just continue right up the numbers and throw your hands up, right? I mean, that's just wide open. But that's just me. But anyways, we have a deep post and another deep post that kind of, the route combination is bad because I had to snap the ball when he was here as opposed to here, right? So I got to work with this play, maybe hot route one of these players to something else and figure out the best spot to snap the ball in the motion to make this play a lot better, right? So I just saw middle of the field open, and I know 2 of my players are hitting that area, so I hit through the ball, and what do you know? I think they ran into one another. You'll see it here at the top of the route, right? That's just poor route distribution right there. And then my tight end, wide open, right? So, I really messed up there. So, in theory, I think it was a good call, but poor, execution there. So here I'm playing that cover 1 aggressive stuff. Not aggressive stuff, but better position to where you press down underneath because the entire formation is in between the divider lines here. Okay, and I'm going to play the deep middle safety. And when I see this guy going inside, now I know I can play over the top of this guy, knowing he's going to be underneath, low shoulder. And almost got an interception there. I think I did it again here. We get a sack. And he punts me the ball. So I think I fast forward some of the stuff. See, a good thing about that, I ran that audible to HB stretch, that play, and ran it, and he didn't commit everyone down. Again, balance, right? Because he knows now that when I do that, it could be a play action bomb. So you can't run commit just because I give you the same motion action, right? So that play makes HB stretch better, and HB stretch makes PA double post better, right? So it's one thing I think it's important with the plays in your playbook. Here I think they were playing 2-man. So this is one of the alert plays of, I went too far back, of Z-Cross. Remember I said progression is here. Turn him to a comeback. If we like it, we throw it. If we don't, we go 1, 2 to 3. However, against 2-man, I really don't fiddle with him at all because I know I'm looking to throw our alert big play shot here. Okay, and if it's not there, then again, you go 1 to 2 to 3. Snap the ball, and you see why it works, right? Now, again, man ratings matter. Route running matters, right? Because I've seen it to where this guy sticks really hard on this guy if your player sucks. But we see why it works against 2-man. Again, rub routes. One of the ways you can attack 2-man is rub concepts. Okay, so find that in your playbook, see where you can get some, and then this is where you can kind of get some really big plays. Now you may think, well, what about that deep safety, that deep half safety? Why is he not there? And I really do think it's because I got to stop going too far back. Show it here. If you think about it, this deep half safety, he's not concerned really too much about this stuff over here, right? With the landmarks where he's got to drop to and etc. But if you pay attention to the replay, you can check it out in the practice field. With this guy going to the flat now, and this guy coming inside, he kind of floats towards the middle of the field. And maybe that's because he's not concerned about the number 2 because he went to the flat now, right? Combine that with a route coming to the inside. Well, maybe now they're not too concerned about a deep shot to the sideline. You kind of could hang more towards the numbers, right? So we can pay attention to how he moves post-snap, this deep half safety. Right? And look, exactly, right? You see how he's pinning more inside the numbers now. Because again, someone went to the flat now from number 2, so now you're worried about 1 going up, but 1's going inside, right? So, you know, are they running a dragon concept? Right? Okay, so he plays more to the middle of the field, and maybe he could provide some help to like a deep post from the number 2 on the back side. Okay, but with that said, this is where that honey hole shot is there, because we got the rub on the underneath man defender on the number 2. So we'll just go ahead and move on. I gotta imagine I put him into, okay, this is where I check into flanker dig, another great play. A good 2-man beating concepts on this side, or double high beating concepts on this side, but I really love working this side. This is probably the purest progression play in my scheme. Just reading 1 to 2 to 3. Okay, and you will throw this deep dig so many times, and it opens up against a lot of the meta defenses that you will see with them playing Mabel, or Madden Mabel, I should say, and more coverages designed to play outside of the numbers. Play like this is really good. So reading 1, don't like it, 2 to 3. Oh, okay, so that was second quarter. We go ahead and kick a field goal, and then we'll just move on to the second half to where we can kind of close out this video. So then he started doing this, coming out in 1 formation and then shifting to 4 strong, which is kind of, you know, annoying. So I checked into that push call set from cover 2 zone. So we'll just go ahead and move on. I mean, theoretically, I can set my audibles on defense so I can be able to deal with that, but I don't know if it's laziness or I just don't feel like it when it happens. I just figure, whatever play I'm running, I'll just figure out what I can do to kind of make it work against them shifting and stuff like that. So here we get an interception. I'm not going to go into what I was thinking here. I don't think it was too deep. He just rolled out, and I kind of floated upfield knowing that he would probably throw that, and we get an interception. So I was in better position on that one because I was way upfield, and I was able to make a play. And then, oh, okay, so we were on the 2-yard line here, okay? And for whatever reason, I just knew that he was going to come with some heavy blitz concept because he wants to get a safety or a bad play, okay? And then I thought about the very first play of the game where he came out in that set to where it was a 3-4, and they were hugging the offensive line, right? And what did we do to attack that? Well, the problem with what he did was there was no cover down on the number 2, so we ran the double out concept, okay? So thinking about that, I'm like, you know what? This is where I check into something that's not something I run in my scheme. I briefly went over this formation. Go check out How to Torture Base Align, I think it's called. And I went over this formation that I used against a guy who did not align properly. I just ran from this formation the entire time because it can cause issues for people who don't align correctly. And I was like, look, let me just pick something from here because I got a feeling he's going to do that. Right? So this is where you kind of get you kind of know what your opponent's going to do, and what do you know? That's exactly what he was doing. And what's the problem here? Okay, this is where formations can be better suited for certain concepts, right? So like in spread, he'd be over here, and of course, no cover down, and there'd be no cover down over here, right? But I think this formation is better suited against what he's doing if I want to exploit that, because now instead of 2-on-1, we get a 3-on-1, right? So I was going to throw this every single time. I don't care what I saw post-snap because of the alignment problem. Because again, you get him, you seal off somebody coming from the second level, and then go upfield, right? So we go ahead and throw it, and we get a really big gain. So obviously you want to keep that on the wide side of the field, and now since I'm out of that scary area down there, I just go back to my offense. So again, No cover down. I don't remember what I did. Okay, I made the 2 hand signals, and then what do you know? He starts flying over here. So he knows he's going to do that again, right? So this is where I just audible into my flanker dig play. Right? And he's still cognizant of that, and I think he overplays the outside because of it. Let's see. Okay, 1 to 2 to 3. Okay, single high, right? This is the first time he played single high in the game. Okay, I'm paying attention every moment, right? He checked in a single high, so this is where I'm like, hey, I can check into one of my favorite plays in the game. Gun spread Y slot, levels divide, turn into a comeback. This is probably the first play I went over in my scheme. Definitely go check it out. Definitely working the seam comeback side over there. Throw at the top of the route. And we get a big game. We just move on. Here I check into this again, right? So I have no practice on this play doing this, but I'm like, I don't care. I'm going to learn on the fly, right? So I run this play again. I know he's probably expecting run. And the middle of the field is wide open. So this is better because there isn't 2 posts going to the middle of the field to run into each other and kind of mess up the spacing. So looking at this now, when I run this play, I should probably key the middle of the field and see if it's open. If it is, then I can throw this, right? Also pay attention to our, I don't even know what type of route you would call that, but that's open as well, right? So I got to go in the lab and figure out the progression on this play, the optimal way to set it up, what to do with the square route, you know. I ended up throwing this because it looked like he was going to out leverage everyone, and he did. So we're going to end this on a horrible note. All we have to do is stop him and we win the game pretty much, I think. And, you know, I was playing the cop check against that set. He went to 4 strong. We're going to move on. And he was dinking and dunking. He was trying to burn out the time, I think. I was playing cover 1 there. I think it was a mistake. Second and goal. Here it comes. Third and goal. Here it is. Okay. Here it is, guys. All right. And you can think I'm lying. I'm telling you the truth. I'm like, the timing of this is just impeccable. I got to be one of the most unluckiest guys on planet Earth. Okay? It's just impeccable timing. So I'm like, he's running bunch. So I was debating on what I want to do. This is a good thing about having like a toolbox where you can play a lot of different things, not just one play. You could play traffic, you could play sort, you could play whatever, a cluster pressure you come out with, whatever, right? I'm like, you know what? I'm going to play sort. I'm going to call cover 9. I'm going to take this safety and bring him down, and I'm going to blitz him. And I'm going to user this player and take the final number 3. That's what I'm going to do, right? And the reason why I wanted to do that is because I felt like he was making good decisions against stock type coverages with bunch and 4 strong and all that. I felt that if I gave him a weird look like this with the potential pressure, it gives him extra things to think about to where now it kind of slows up his thinking and he can make a mistake, right? So that's my plan, right? So I grabbed the safety and I'm trying to move him, and he won't move. He's just sidestepping. I'm like, I can't move, so I call timeout. I'm like, what? Right? You see that? I'm trying to bring him down to blitz him, and I can't move him. So then I'm like, did my controller break? Did my left analog break? What is going on, right? So he goes gun bunch again. And I'm like, all right, maybe, you know, something weird or flunky happens, right? So we go again. And it does it again. I can't move. It's just sidestepping. I can't switch off. I can't do anything, right? So then I start panicking. I'm like, uh-oh, it's doing it again. What's going on? So then I'm like, all right, let me call timeout. But I can't because I just called timeout, right? So then now I'm just pressing anything. I'm like, what's going on? I'm hitting it, and then this happens. the camera, because I pressed the button to change the camera. I'm like, I can't believe this, right? And then he snaps the ball, and then I can magically move again. It's just so annoying, right? So now I'm playing from this position. I don't even know what to do. I'm just kind of, I'm like, let me float to the strong side. That's where he's looking, right? And I got there late anyways. It wouldn't have mattered. So what I think he ran, where this guy whips and then goes out, right? So he has 2 going to the out, and that's a good play to run against like box, I think. Okay, but it doesn't matter. He out leverages this horrible player, and he gets a touchdown. I was pissed. So that's just like amazing. Like I don't even know. So if I'm thinking my controller broke, I certainly hope it wasn't something someone has figured out to where they can make your controller free. Like, there's just no way that's possible. It's got to be my controller. But I'll leave it at that, guys. I hope you got something from this video. This really pissed me off. Like, I just can't believe that. But it is what it is. I hope you guys keep coming back for more. Peace.